Hey, welcome to another episode of the Coachable Players podcast. I'm your host, John Bryan. This show is built on a simple but powerful belief: the most successful athletes, employees, and business leaders share a trait. They are coachable. And today I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I got my buddy here. He is a coach himself. He's a coachable person. His kids are coachable, and I love being around his family. Of course, I'm talking about the guy you see on the screen there, Cory Johnson. Cory, how we doing?
Nice. Glad to be here. Looking forward to this. So,
Northern Wrestling head football or head wrestling.
head wrestling coach.
Yes. So let's get right at it. Who's Cory? You want to get us up to
Cory
speed?
Johnson, guy from a little old town called Jersey Shore up north in Pennsylvania. Grew up playing all types of sports. My dad was a sports junkie. Jersey Shore is a wrestling town, so it's kind of by birthright you wrestle up there. So I wrestled my entire life. Played a lot of soccer. Played football too. I was the first guy that ever kicked football and played soccer. The guy after me and his dad was one of my club coaches was Robbie Cole.
Oh, wow.
True story about me. Yeah, I've known Robbie and his dad. Yeah. I was the first of a generation to do it, so I played both football and soccer. So that was fun. But wrestling, I think, is kind of the sport that shaped my life, like well beyond my wrestling years. It's fun to look back and think about what my weaknesses were back then, things that helped me back that I've tried to focus on in my coaching towards young men and trying to help them not have the problems I had. I had a lot of success, but I always felt like I left a lot out.
Yeah.
So you try to learn from it and be better.
Absolutely. I'm not a wrestling person. I never wrestled, and not until you invited me to a wrestling match 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That was like my first time ever going. I still don't understand the point system, but it is a very unique and cool sport. It's a team sport, and then it's an individual at the same time.
Yes.
So it really challenges the body, challenges the mind. Awesome. I love it. So.
At the highest level of wrestling, I mean, 90% of it's between years.
Yeah.
It really is. And people don't understand it because they see two guys battling, grappling. But most of it relies between years. When you have two fairly even athletes, like that's the difference every time. It's between years.
And you, as I mentioned, the head coach of Northern Wrestling, division champs last year.
We were, yeah,
the first time in the school history.
No.
Okay.
Northern's won a port. It's been a while.
Okay.
A little while. I don't know how many years, but hoping to repeat this year. So.
And that was your first year.
Yes, as the head high school coach.
Thoughts going into that? I know you coached previously many years.
Mm-hmm. So this group of juniors that we have, I've had them since they were in seventh grade. So I wanted to follow them.
You coached them.
Yeah, I was their head middle school coach, and then I followed them the whole way through high school. So for me, it's just a continuation of the last 5 years.
Now, how were you able to reach them mentally? I know you had the long relationship, so that's a bonus. That's a plus.
You build it like that. It's so when I had a lot of them in seventh grade, they're pre-puberty and going through those changes, and now they're young men, and so it's just having a relationship where they're comfortable coming to you and having honest conversations. I'm not a big yeller or screamer at my kids, but I'm honest, and they know that. I think that's the best relationship, built on honesty as a coach to your players. I don't try to fluff something up, or I don't try to sugarcoat it, but I don't also try to shove it under the rug. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we can improve and get better. That's my test as a coach. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Kids that want to work hard are going to get better.
Can you get a sense, like if you're a new wrestler, can you get a sense kind of they're coachable or they're not coachable? And if they're not, is there a way to work with them or a way to?
Yeah, I mean, in any sport, of wrestling being so individual makes it a little bit unique, I think, compared to other sports. I mean, a kid has to have a willpower, a drive to win, and those kids are always coachable. Like even they're hard-headed sometimes, but they want to win so bad that they're gonna break stuff down and listen to sometimes take a half step back to take three forward. And then there's some kids that just don't want to make the improvements and don't want to put the time in, and so you do the best you can with them. And I talk about life a lot in practice, and I'm trying to build an atmosphere where they're going to learn life lessons out of it. I look at, like, for myself, where I'm at in my career, I own an accounting firm. I'd never be bad if it wasn't for what I learned in wrestling. It's completely shaped my life, setting goals. You and I were talking about game about goals. I still write my own goals down every year. So we talk about goals a lot, whether they're team goals and individual goals. But I talk to them about what I do with that life, and I'd never be where I'm at.
Yeah. So let's stay there for a minute on goals. You talked about the relationship, and then you're sharing your goals. Is it like a group sharing, or is it one-on-one, or is it a big group?
Yeah, we sat down this past week and we went around the whole room. We took some time at the end of practice, and everybody stood up in front of the team and talked about what their team goals were, and then talked about what their individual goals were. And we do that in a team setting on purpose. A lot of coaches just have to write them down, hand them in, blind. And I want everybody to hear these goals so we can hold each other accountable to those goals. Is our process right to achieve those goals?
Yeah.
And we're accountable to each other. That's the coach is accountable to them too. Are we doing our job to help them achieve those goals, and vice versa?
Yeah. So team goal, they all go around. It's a sharing exercise. Coaches involved too with team goals.
Yeah, kids go first. We go last.
Okay. So collectively, do you come up with a list of team goals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they how is that documented, or is it documented? Is it shared?
Yeah, we'll put it up all in the coach's office around the wrestling, so kids can see what we're trying to achieve.
That's cool. Very
cool. Yeah, it's fun.
And is it review? I mean, you see it practice game. You see it all the time. Is it talked about during the season?
Oh, we will bring them up. Every week we'll talk about like are we doing what we need to do to achieve our goals?
Are those adjusted during the season?
Not really. I mean, if the right goals are set, they don't need to be. It's as we were talking about a little bit off camera, it's not always about wins and losses. It's about are we following the right process? And so that shouldn't need adjusted.
Yeah.
I think we set out a good course of what that needs to be.
As I told you, growing up, I don't remember the outcomes of games, but I remember a coach that reached me. I remember a challenge during a game or something. And that's kind of what we both. I mean, this whole mindset, some youth coaches are like, you gotta win. You're gonna win the championship. They're in sixth grade. They don't care. That does 5 years.
That's not, I get like at the youth level, keeping score. That makes some sense to me. So you can see a competitive drive come out the kids trying to win. Yeah. But the win or the loss is in the end. What are we doing?
Yeah. So if you've been with some of these players for 5, 6 years, you've probably seen a lot of growth.
Absolutely.
That's gotta be amazing.
It's the joy of my life. I mean, this is my second time through with a group of kids like this. And I wouldn't trade for the world. I love it. Just watching them become good young men, and that's the ultimate, right? I mean, like my method is through wrestling. Yeah. But like a lot of my former wrestlers in the Pittsburgh area, I have a lot of good relationships with. I talk to all the time. I've talked to them about their relationships. We would review their wrestling matches at night when they were wrestling in college, walking them through paperwork on buying their first house. Like you're a mentor. It's not just wrestling. You're a mentor in their life. Yeah. And that's the best. That is awesome. I coached his son for a couple years, and it was awesome. So still check on him, still go to the games, although he didn't play much this year. But you mentioned mentor and helping out young players. Let's flip the script a little bit. Let's look at a young Cory growing up. Did you have any positive mentors in your life? Absolutely. My coaches, I thought were great. I know they did their best to reach me, and I think I was young when I graduated. I was 17. Probably would have helped me a lot to have another year. Yeah. Like my maturity didn't really reach till college, and so I think to be successful in life, to be coachable, you have to be reflective, self-reflective. So I guess I got older, I got pretty good at that. So you're just trying to improve at all times. Yeah. So a lot of my goals I write down are improvements I need to make. They're not necessarily a result or anything. It's an improvement. And I can write down things to measure that improvement. Is that measured during the season? You meant like a journal kind of
kind of.
Yeah, but mine are like a lot of business goals. Some are coaching goals. Like I have different goals, but yeah, they're all measurable.
And but as far as the mentors, kind of anyone that really sticks out or anything that you picked up along the way? Or?
Yeah, my dad was a good athlete. Like he was very, very influential in my life. Athletically, my wrestling coach was my football coach. He was very influential, in my life as well. I still talk to him to this day. Yeah, they were positive. And times have changed. Like I grew up in a small town, like where it was the grab your face mask, kind of get in your face type, and that's not the world we live in anymore. So you have to find other ways to reach kids, to relate to them, and to get to them to the point where they're truly listening, not staring through you and letting it go in one ear and out the other. You got to reach them, and every kid's different. So you gotta find ways. That's hard sometimes.
Meet them where they are.
Yeah.
As far as ties have changed, I was watching a college football game and one of my kids walked by and the coach grabbed the face mask and headbutted in excitement as they could play. And then my daughter was like, oh, what did I just see? And I'm like, that always happened when I was growing up. Coaches were always different. But it's just weird current generation.
Yeah. They're not used to what we grew up with.
Yeah, they're not.
Just that kind of hard-nosed, tough mentality. And we're just in a different age where there's different expectations from whether it's the school administrators, parents. So you got to balance being tough and still getting through to them in a good way. That's a tough balance sometimes.
And another aspect as far as different generation. I had a coach, a high school coach, I was speaking with a couple of weeks ago, and he said, this generation now, they would rather score a touchdown and get a good picture in the end zone than win the game.
Absolutely.
How can we, and he goes, use your podcast if needed, but how can we educate and motivate current athletes to be team first? That team first concept is gone. You're wrestling, you go to your wrestling matches, tournaments, and there's a environment, there's a community amongst the team. It's obviously something you preach and the team.
Talk about it all the time. There's no hot dog in it, I call it. It's we're all in it for the benefit of the team. And if you're not, like, you could be my best wrestler, certainly, but you sit. I will put the next guy in. We will never disrespect our opponents, the refs, the officials. It's all about, we want to put on a show. I try to take like the Penn State approach, and Penn State's the pinnacle of wrestling. But we want to put on a show and dominate. We want people to come watch us because we're entertained. So that's our story. We want to entertain. And so when you come to our matches, our kids are scoring a lot of takedowns, getting a lot of back points. That's more fun to watch as a fan versus two guys standing on their feet, nothing happening. Yeah. So we really encourage that style of wrestling.
And a respect for, like you said, the other opponent and everyone there.
It's critical. Like if you're going to be on our team, you have to have, or you won't be wrestling. Yeah,
that's a great approach.
It's just the only approach.
It is.
You won't ever see us like, well, I don't yell at refs. I mean, it's one thing to have a conversation with a ref, but we always treat them with respect. It starts with us, so we have to lead the right way.
Yeah, that's so my first thought was too. It starts with leadership, the coaches, and if you let that happen, you send the player right back out there again, so he can get another picture in the end zone.
You can't say do as I say, not as I do. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
you got to live it. You got to be the example. And 5 years in, like the kids know me, they know my staff, and so it just kind of organically happens. We don't really have to talk about it anymore because the expectations have been set. They're in place. It's rare we have any issues with it. We have a really good kids.
Yeah, and it is kind of lead by example when you see the others. Everyone's setting examples. Which I got to commend you. Coaching Gabe in football was awesome. After the first practice, he came up to me, shook my hand, and he said, "Thank you, Coach, for coaching me today." By the end of the season, the entire football team was shaking all the coaches' hands.
It was he's done that on every team, and that's something back from my wrestling club that I instilled in my kids. Like you shake the coach's hand, and you thank your parents every day for bringing it. Because it's time out of their day when they could have been doing something else. Like the respect matters. And the way kids that do that get viewed by their coaches, as you just talked about, is it's a favor. It's favorable. They're gonna be looked at as nice, young, respectful athletes. That's what you want as a parent.
Yeah, and it's enjoyable as a coach
Mhm.
to spend time with people that
Mhm.
respect you and they actually want to learn and get better.
Mhm. Mhm.
Good stuff. I do want to talk a little bit about Penn State wrestling
Mhm.
and their coach,
Gail,
Kyle Sanderson.
Gail Sanders.
Kale
Yep.
Sanderson. I'm not, like I said, I'm not
The
a
best to
wrestling
ever
guy.
do it. And he's I think he knows it, but he's a mentor for all of us.
So,
Like we all watch him and try to figure out like how's he doing it. I'm fortunate. I have a lot of connections to the Penn State wrestling community, so I know a lot of wrestlers that's been there, and you're always picking their brain, like how does he do it? And can I read something I read to my team?
Yeah.
So I did something the other day. I found something pretty interesting, and I just went through this with my team when we were talking about goals. And this was Kale's coaching code, and I've seen it before. This is stuff that we try to do as coaches, but we talked about it as a team. And just focus on effort, not outcome. Compete without envy. Pressure is a privilege. Like, you can't let that get to you. Like it's a privilege to be in a high spot, to have that pressure. You got to embrace it, not run from it. Lead without an ego.
Yep.
Wrestle with a purpose. That's every day you come in. Like, how are you trying to get a little bit better? That's a big one in wrestling. You can't just come in and go through the motions. Like, what's your plan to get a little bit better today? And so we talk about that at the beginning of practice real quick. No shortcuts, never any shortcuts. And then finally, just keep perspective. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a wrestling match. And I tell them, like, we all get worked up about this stuff. And I was talking to him and I said, you know what? You win, you lose. I mean, go do your best.
Yeah.
And the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And if the outcome isn't what we wanted, we're going to keep working. We're going to try to get better. We're going to try to change that outcome next time. Yep. But I just need your best effort at all times. And that's everything they do in our life, whether it's like I'm monitoring their grades constantly. I call them and talk to them about their schoolwork. And, it's like all of it. That same effort needs to be across the board, not just in wrestling. Like they're student athletes. Yep. And that matters. Yeah. So, we're talking to them about it all.
Any drastic changes amongst any of your players? Like this guy really clicked in one of the years.
Yeah, I got to get him excited about this year. Jackson Leininger. He's just in a real good headspace. He's healthy for the first time in a while. He's got that hunger in his eyes. He's really, just opener year, been a great leader. I expect big things from him this year. I know last year didn't quite end where he wanted it to, but he's been putting some work in. Real excited for him. Braden Whipple, he's just an animal. He's one of the most coachable kids I've ever worked with. They all are. I got great kids. Yeah. It's 5-year relationships with a lot of them. They're coachable. We do a lot of bonding things too. Like, and sometime in the middle of the season, we're going to be bowling. We'll do a team bowling contest. We played team paintball this summer. We went up to my camp and spent a weekend last year. Like we do a lot of fun stuff together to bond outside of wrestling. So we get to know each other.
Very cool.
So we usually open the practice with a couple games of dodgeball. Coaches play. Yeah. It gets wild. We laugh at each other. You got to be able to interact with them. So that's important. They see us as having vulnerability as well, and we're human. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I think when you try to approach them in that sense, it matters because they'll listen. Mm-hmm. We're not just a huff and puff coach. Yeah. We're human too. And sometimes you got to tell them, like, hey, maybe I did get on you a little too hard. And, I kind of could put that a little different. They respect that. So when you have respect that goes both ways, and everybody's on the same page trying to grow. That's all we want. I just want my team to grow. Have fun, grow, try to get better. And we try to, break that down into a daily process. Got to get better every day, a little bit better every day. Sometimes in practice, in wrestling, it's hard to meet a 6 a.m. practice this morning. And about 15 minutes in, I blew the whistle. I said, all right, just jump around, shake this up. We're going to restart. Let's get our heads on it. Yeah. Instead of screaming, give me 25 push-ups or what have you. No, this isn't going to help us achieve our goals. Let's just reset. Man, I blew that whistle. The rest of the practice was done.
Awesome.
You know, it's just,
Yeah.
not only yellow.
Very cool.
So just, it's fun. It's the privilege of a lifetime for me. I'm privileged, I feel like, to be able to work with such a good group of young men. You know, it'll probably take them years to understand how we feel as coaches. But
So what can we expect as Northern residents, Northern fans? What can we expect this year?
I think we're going to be battling for another conference title. There's never a gimme. You know, there's some good teams in our conference. I like where we're at. Obviously, we got some really good wrestlers, and it's next guy up. We're missing Cory Johnson, my son, during state qualifier. That hurts, but it's next guy up. You know, we got a real good freshman that won that weight. I'm excited for him, Braden Slug. And if we can stay healthy and just stay the course, I think we're gonna like where we're at. I think last year we got to host team districts. I'm not certain if that was the first time ever. That may have been.
Okay.
We were hosting, which means we were seated top 4 in the district.
Very cool.
There's I want to say 53 AAA teams. The final 16 make the playoffs. We were seated 4th.
Wow.
Awesome. So that was cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Hoping to kind of be back in a situation like that. That was good for our home base. You know, they packed the gym, and that was fun. I'd like to do that again. That'd be fun. There's some really good teams in our district. And you know, when you get to the final beat teams, it just comes down to matchups. Mm-hmm. Like you could beat these 2 teams, but maybe not these 2 teams, just the way you line up, like the way the matches fall. It's tough. So we're always jockeying kids around trying to get you know, the right matchups. Now I think the kids are going to do well. I think individually, then I think, you know, beat where we were last year, because we lost the ones. We lost 2 seniors. One was hurt. One was pretty impactful. Nico Fratelli, you know, he was a big loss for us. Loved having him on our team. I miss him. He was a good leader. Just a good kid. So, but I think he left his mark on the guys behind him. I think he did a good job of that. So I think trying to get more guys, you know, out of sectionals to districts, guys out of districts to states. And hopefully we get a couple on the podium to states this year. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So that's the goal.
Yeah. I'll be cheering for you.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you in the matches.
Yeah. And maybe another episode or 2 as the season progresses.
Absolutely. Love to do this.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time here. Remember, being coachable is not a sports skill, it's a life skill. Until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, and stay coachable. Thank you, Cory Johnson.
Thank you.